Hello there, archaeologists and indie fans. Young Indiana Jones historian here. And on today's episode of the Artifacts of Indiana Jones, I am going over one from Great Circle, and that is Noah's Ark. Now, this will only be going over the game portion, the Great Circle version of Noah's Ark. Putting out Noah's Ark in the Indie franchise has also appeared in a book from 90s, but I will get more into that. And we'll explain, and just as every other episode of the Artifacts of Indiana Jones, we'll go over the stories and histories of the artifacts, and we'll explain how and explain and posit where could they be, especially with now I actually have and so yeah. Now in the story of Genesis, God after seeing probably, I can only presume after seeing humanity after creating incest, decides to flood the earth. And God told Noah to build an ark. 30 cubits wide and 10 cubits within length, maybe. I'm not going to describe a cubit being of two of every animal on the ark. Well, less amount where the ark would rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Then it would stop raining after that. The ark was made out of gopher wood, and many depictions of it having it be as a house on a boat. As a house on a boat, a box, and whatever. And the ark would be seen as an important artifact, as being one of the only things that, than the animals that would survive the Great Flood. And wrote George. Now I'm only just bringing you only summarizing the story of Noah and where the ark could be. Multiple people throughout history have tried to find it before this video by some guy who likes Indiana Jones made this video, and probably will after some guy who likes Indiana Jones made this video. So and some say it's been rotting away, some say not, some say it looks like a box, even though scientifically speaking, how boats work, that would be impossible, and it would have to be a boat, because if not, it would sink. I do not like the idea of a boat looking like a box. It's my personal bias. So yeah. And if you believe in where we're up to, and the multiple other flood myths around the world, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Chinese creation myth, and I guess you could even say somewhat of the story of Atlantis. And this is, but after Noah and his family would leave the ark, it's debated on, after the animals, Noah, 2 by 2 left the ark. It's debated on what happened to the ark. where is it? The Bible says it rested on Mount Ararat. People have questioned where is the ark and have gone looking forward for centuries. And let's begin on where's the ark? And where was probably the ark in the only place that's somewhat mentioned in the Bible would be Mount Ararat. That's been debated if it genuinely has the ark, and this is one photos, but Ararat is weird wouldn't how it was, but there's been multiple archaeological finds that say this is the ark, and saying this is where the ark is. Now, archaeologists are more saying how the outline of the ark can survive, so the basis form. So most notably, this famous photo that's been debated on by historians and archaeologists and whoever, is this the actual ark? Some say it's rock formation, but some say wouldn't how ark would work. Sometimes it's fossilized, so maybe this is fossilized remains out of the ark. And this will probably go on as long as we know the structure, as it's a very big boat-like shipment. While somewhat of archaeologists somewhat want to hire Wyatt. Well, I'm just going to call him RW. Ron Wyatt, or RW as I become him, because I can't pronounce Wyatt. Actually, I can. Man. He said he actually have found the ark. But, it's weird because he only has, he has somewhat of a kind of amateur archaeologist. Basically, how you would put it would be somewhat of a, how I see it is, no, I'm not really an archaeological expert, but, student. And he also said he found the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, so he thinks he's Indiana Jones. And it really depends if you actually believe him. And he said he proves, the photo on the famous boat-like structure in Turkey. Just look up Noah's Ark found, and you would find this picture is very similar to it. And it really just sums up, do you believe that's the Ark, and do you believe Mona? Some say yes, some say no. Whilst the Ark itself may have rotted away, but may have rotted away over years. Wedding Hour was already 2,000 years before the time. Wedding Hour was almost 3,000 years before the time. Christ. So but the Ark would essentially be part of the, because how the Bible shows it somewhat is that it kind of shows it as the old world. Well, meanwhile, back over to the end of the franchise. And also, this is where I'm going to be mentioning the Indiana Jones and Genesis duologue. I have not read the book, but it's probably not canon, but in these canon, I'm going to explain it. I'm going to try and explain what's canon to the Indy franchise. I tried and did that once, but yeah, in these Indiana Jones and Genesis duologue, Indy finds Noah's Ark. It was part of the Indiana Jones books from the 90s with some of them. And generally have good art covers. These were rivals the movies. But I have not read any of them, and the current expansive media of Indiana Jones I have dealt with has been Great Circle and the novelization of Raiders. Now on to Great Circle. Indiana Jones and Great Circle is a good game. While Sydney is working after his cat mummy is stolen, Indiana Jones bumped to Gino body. You were telling the woman that I cannot pronounce the last name for because dumb American. But as she's looking for a sister, and in these looking for is looking for a cat mummy. Then the Wacky Avengers, the video game play, use your gun that basically lasts bullets and committing multiple and destroying half the Italian army in this game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we now know why Italy was so bad at war. Had so many casualties during World War II, because Indy killed half its army. Indy comes to the conclusion of finding Noah's Ark, which also is somewhat a weird depiction of the Ark. I know it's supposed to be like somewhat half destroyed, but it's still in good condition where it floats. And so yeah, I'd like to see like someone's artist rendition of it fully. And it also has a steering wheel, which the Bible did not seem to mention. What else after you? What's after fighting? What else after fighting the Horde of the Nephilim? Emmerich thus tries and use it to do what most Indies feeling do. Find supernatural artifactical thing that may or may not have been real, and use it to take over the world. And this one has a steering wheel that shoots a laser from it. That was talking about changing from the source material. That was not in Genesis. I know in the villains are supposed to die in like over the top ways, but like the Great Circle developers very much did not like the ending of it of Dial, because they didn't have over the top there, so they went, we're gonna have him die the most over the top way in an indie project. And the Ark was being protected by the Order of the Nephilim. Now the Nephilim in Genesis are general mystery, and if you want to see me make a video comparing the Nephilim in Great Circle to the Nephilim in Genesis and theories about them, I would happily do it. I have multiple, and that was just. And in the end, Jones would get offered after boss battle with one most wacky case scenarios. Gina and Indy would escape from the Ark going into a portal. Yeah, and also the Ark has a television device. The Ark is very different from how it is in the Bible. Any biblical, any artifact from the Indie franchise that they usually kind of the Indie movies emphasize its supernatural capabilities, but like the Ark probably was the one that they had to do with the most, because it's basically just a boat. The Bible doesn't even mention it had a steering wheel, because it was more or less being guided by God. And if it did, I don't think it had a laser that teleported places. The Ark is very different. It's a very strange depiction of any artifact in the Indie movies, especially when it's always some kind of religious thing, and they usually do it over the top. Same with something of the Crystal Skull, and when I get to those, it's gonna be very much kind of half me kind of just going over how man, that was a weird movie. But yeah. But that ends today's episode of the Artifacts of Indiana Jones. If you want any if you suggest any old artifacts or anything you found in indie material, I will have go of that. And fortune and glory, my friends.